Good morning. And happy hump day. Happy Wednesday, you guys. I see that Lauren Koch is in the house, and I want to give her a huge shout out and send her continued strength and positive vibes. We know you're going through a lot. So it's great to see you here, joining the community.
Fill your cup. Filling your cup.
Yes. Muy importante.
Filling one cup and emptying another. That coffee cup. Wow. Okay. Had to raise my chair because you raised your chair.
Because I felt really short.
Wait. And how's that different than any other day?
It's not. But when I feel like I'm here on the camera, that is no bueno.
So, today we are talking about this little thing called patience. I immediately thought of, can you come in here more? I immediately thought of a child's name, like a girl, like a little girl whose name is Patience. I've never met a girl named Patience, ever. But I just, in my mind, for half a second was like, what if I named one of our children
Patience?
Patience, as a constant reminder to myself.
Patience is actually a really nice word. Let's define
Patience
it.
is a beautiful word,
What
but
is
sometimes
patience?
very difficult to achieve.
Oof. The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset.
Read it again, louder.
The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. Another definition is patience is the ability to endure difficult circumstances.
To accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. I don't know why, but immediately I think about Disneyland. And in my opinion, it is not the happiest place on earth. Because I don't like lines. And I don't like extremely crowded places. For the most part. I mean, Coachella is a different story, but you're not waiting in lines. So, patience, think about, okay, the next thing I think about is the weight loss journey. You're already shaking your head. You're like, oh shit, here it comes. The weight loss journey. How many of y'all have found yourself wanting results faster or getting frustrated if you don't see them as soon as you would like to or expect to see them? Drop one of these emojis, the shrug emoji.
You're such a good entertainer.
I was reading about my DISC assessment this morning and communication styles and things you should do with my personality type and things you shouldn't do, and I was like, this is completely me. And it's like basically it's like you're in the front of everything as like the most visible spokesperson.
Yes, of course. Exactly how I met you.
And it's like, don't interrupt them, don't let them not talk, don't tell them what to do.
Yep.
Oh, but you know what? I'm getting better at the things that I could get better at. So I see the shrugs.
So this thing called patience and going to your weight loss journey. or success journey of any kind, how many times have you actually talked yourself out of continuing to pursue something because your lack of patience made you believe that just because in this current moment what you had expected and hoped to achieve did not come, now you started getting into retreat mode and saying, this is not working, this is not meant for me. When in fact, everything works if you work it. The question is, did you work it long enough? How many people did we work with who at the beginning, because their body didn't trust them, like, no change will happen. And then after 4 months, like, suddenly it's like,
boom. Yeah.
like snowball effect.
Yep.
Crazy. These are the successful people. But most people think because I did this, because I acted well one day, this needs to, I'm ready to receive, world. I'm ready to receive. But it doesn't work that way. I think patience, now that I'm reading the definition, it's a skill. Patience is a skill that you develop through discipline. Because discipline allows you to endure difficult circumstances. And patience is the ability to do so. So basically, patience is the ability to stay disciplined when the road gets tough. So, what?
You know that meme? You know that meme of the, is it the, I think it's a little kid looking in the mirror with like a little pot belly, like a little pudgy belly. And you're like, did 100 crunches today, don't have abs yet, or something like that. Stacy can probably make one. But it's like, it is like, it's like, I worked out today, but it's like a picture of a little chubby kid looking in the mirror with his shirt up that's like, don't have abs yet.
No, I don't think I saw it.
Or I'm imagining it. Something like that. Somebody knows what thing I'm talking about. But that's what this reminds me of.
So, let's give them some takeaways.
Yeah.
How do you develop this thing called patience?
That is a great question.
We
could use a little more patience.
So here's the issue that we have on a global level. We live in a society, basically macro environment, that does not support patience. So your big grand scheme environment does not support this skill that you need to have in order to achieve everything. So, like, how do you call it? The deck of cards is stacked against you when things become more difficult?
Mm-hmm. It's like things aren't in your favor.
Yes. So because of that, things are not in your favor.
Well, it's the concept of instant gratification.
Right.
Which
we live
is the
in
opposite.
a society
Yeah.
that provides instant gratification.
Very much everywhere. Internet, tip of your fingers, Amazon Prime.
Right. Therefore, we live in a society that resists, does not approve of, and does not accept patience. Now, how can you act on something if you can't accept and acknowledge it? See where I'm going with that? So, step one with regards to creating change of any kind is to become aware. So how many times have you guys heard, just like, maybe like your general practitioner or something say, if you've been wanting to lose weight, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs. That's a great example of like just teaching patients on a micro scale level. Because if you take the elevator, you can go from, let's say, the first floor to the 10th floor, and depending on how fast the elevator is, if you're taking an elevator in like a big city like New York, you can get to the 10th floor in like 2 seconds, not even. Meanwhile, to climb up a flight of 10 floors, that's going to take you, depending on how many stairs, your level of fitness, a couple of minutes. That's like a small example of just like how on a physiological level we don't, like, patience is not even a thing anymore. Forget Amazon Prime, forget XND ship, forget all these things. Instacart. So now there's a lot of benefits to living in the 21st century, like Instacart. We have so much shit going on. We don't, if we can choose to not have to go to the grocery store when we meal prep. So we save ourselves 2 hours. But that is not because we're impatient. That's because we're trying to maximize time. But because so many people lack awareness with regards to what is the concept of patience and what is the importance of patience, there is this negative connotation with regards to that because everybody in society wants things to happen to them fast.
Wait, there's a negative
connotation with regards to patience. How many times have you heard people say, yeah, I'm impatient?
I think the English barrier is happening right now. Because I don't think it's a negative connotation. It's like just something we have a hard time accepting.
Yes.
Patience, I think we can probably all agree is a great thing to have. But just so difficult to practice in today's society is what you're saying. Because everything is stacked against that. You can get this tomorrow. You can get this today if you order it within 2 hours. You can, go online and you can literally find information about almost anything like that. So, the convenience, how quickly things can happen in today's society has us practicing more of an instant gratification than a delayed gratification. So to practice this, just like we practice putting yourself in uncomfortable situations on purpose so you can get more comfortable being uncomfortable, is patience falls into that umbrella, under that umbrella of uncomfortable. Because to have patience requires that you wait. You sit and you wait. Beck is here. Hi, Beck. Maybe Siri's watching too. Hi, Siri. But to practice this and to get better at this thing that is called patience would be to intentionally put yourself in situations where you have to be patient. Now, if you have kids, this happens by default. You have an opportunity every single day to practice patience. And I saw a couple comments of people saying, I have more patience with kids than I have with myself, why? Because if you think about why it is that you are having patience with a kid, I imagine myself, because I would say I have a lot of patience with children. Why? Because for myself, not just, I can't speak for anybody else, but this is my own thought process, is if for one, I understand the kid is not fully developed and has no awareness of time. So I can't expect, you can teach time, you can teach urgency, you can teach things like that, but with a kid, it's like if they're learning how to tie their shoe and you tell them, hey, hurry up and tie your fucking shoe, that's not gonna leave a good impression on that kid. So as an adult, I'm like, okay, understand this kid is learning, this kid is developing, this kid doesn't know. The child doesn't understand or fully comprehend the task at hand. So I've got to have patience with them so that they feel comfortable in this situation, and that will give them more confidence in this situation to overcome or achieve or complete the task that they're learning to complete. Now, as an adult, if we're learning this thing called weight loss and we're still in this journey, if you haven't succeeded and maintained or held on to at least where you want to go, you're still in the learning process. Do you think it would be fair for you to be patient with yourself while you're in the learning process? Or while you're still feeling like you're underdeveloped in a certain area, or you don't know everything about what it is that you're trying to achieve? Would you think it's fair for you to have patience with yourself like you would have patience with a kid learning how to tie their shoe? So, and it sounds like logically you're like, oh yeah, that makes a great deal of sense, Erin. But I understand just as well as you do that it's easier said than done. But by verbalizing it, my hope is that the next time you want to be impatient with yourself or something else, and there is on the one hand where you have control of the things, right? If you're learning something new, that you'll think back to this conversation. Now, there's the other side of that where you're having patience with something you have no control over. Like technology. It happens to me, I think, on a daily, where I want the computer to move as fast as I am moving. And it doesn't always happen that way. So then this is like my daily reminder today that like, hey, when something isn't uploading or downloading or processing or doing something as fast as you want it to do, what do you do?
So, patience is a muscle that you have to flex. It's a skill that you have to develop. So it's like a muscle that you have to develop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to continuously go out of your way to test your patience. Now, the universe will do enough of that for you. You don't actually like have to try very hard because like we said, you know, we live in the 21st century, and by default, because we live in a society that's full of instant gratification just by, you know, like taking the stairs instead of the elevator. That's like a really like tiny granular act in which you can, you know, start developing that patience muscle. Okay? Now, here's the thing. The reason why your success journey of any kind is so hard, whether it's, you know, optimizing your body composition, becoming an amazing athlete, you know, being an incredibly successful entrepreneur, being an incredibly successful mother, whatever you want it to be, that requires a great load of patience, like in the form of years and decades. We're talking about, you guys, not like, oh, take the stairs instead of the elevator, which is going to take you another 2 minutes. We're talking like years and decades. And the reason why so many people fail to achieve anything substantial is because they gave up too soon. Because once things started getting comfortable, once they didn't see that, you know, immediate instant gratification, they gave up.
3 feet from gold.
By Sharon Lecter, right?
I think so. 3 feet from gold.
However, I was also thinking, and this is for any high performer, I would say that for high performers, the biggest struggle with patience is to practice the art of a continued sense of urgency while practicing patience at the same time. So now, if you want to be successful, you have to have deadlines. You have to have a sense of urgency with regards to everything that you do. Because if you don't have a sense of urgency, by default, it's just going to take you so much more time to accomplish one thing versus however long it'll take you before. Let's take, for example, just like, setting up in your calendar, like, a specific time to work out each and every day. So now, let's say if you go to the gym with no intention whatsoever, you meet your friends there, blah, blah, blah. Dude, when I very first started my journey, and I was on the right path and I was actually surrounded by a community, I would hang out in the gym literally all day because that was my social club. Like 7 a.m. literally till 2 p.m. No sense of urgency. However, I think that is why so many people have construed, is that the word? Or a skewed idea of what it actually is like to be successful. They think that, they have to spend hours at the gym. They think that they have to be in the kitchen all day. No, you really don't. We don't do it like that. We just, you do what you have to do, but you live with a sense of urgency. However, when you're used to living with a sense of urgency, like for example, I'm going to allot 60 or 90 minutes for my workout and I have to start on time, have to end on time. At this day, at this time, I'm going to meal prep, blah, 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 right? Like, what happens when you're just so used to operating like this, and then things, though you are operating in this way because you know that, what you put in is what you get out, but then on a universal aspect, sometimes things are out of your control and things take longer than expected. How do you respond to something like that? That I find as a high performer to be the biggest challenge with regards to patience. But that is the importance of this conversation, to be aware. Because just because you're living with, a sense of high urgency does not mean that, just because you didn't achieve something, though you acted upon it, that you're not actually moving the needle forward. Yeah.
Patience is an internal thing. So you can be physically moving quickly and with urgency, but patience is internal. So some examples, and I was thinking about this, is the ability to control your state. It's a superpower to have the ability to control and change your state whenever you want to, whenever you know you need to.
Yeah.
Right? And that is, if I'm feeling frustrated, I have the ability to, I'm in the state of frustration. I have the ability, the superpower is, I can take myself from this state and consciously change it to be patient. Right? And that's an internal calm that happens. There's something that we've been working on for, and you even more specifically, for years, over 5 years.
Yeah.
Life-changing. And you've had your moments where you've had to remind yourself, I have no control over this situation. I've got to be patient. I've got to trust that everything happens on purpose, and for whatever reason it's supposed to, that is outside of my control. Let me accept that and let me change my state to a more calm state. Let me understand that if I don't have control over this thing, I need to accept a patient state. And that all happens inside. So you can still be taking action, moving with urgency, making decisions quickly, being on the go, being busy or productive, I'd rather say. but still have a patience in you. For business, you're waiting on somebody to sign a contract or close a house or whatever. You're waiting. It's a waiting game. I'm waiting and I don't want to be waiting. Mm-hmm. How can I make myself be okay? Waiting. And that's an internal control of state. It's a tricky thing. I always start with a deep breath. I always just start with a deep breath. Like, accept, acknowledge, accept, and then act in whatever way you need to.
So let's give them some takeaways. How do we approach patience? So number one, know that patience is a skill and it's super duper important to have if you want to find success in anything. Because anything great doesn't happen overnight. Anything great does not happen overnight. It's probably going to take you years and decades, and that's what people don't realize. They think that, if they have a weight loss goal, that, like that they're going to go from looking mediocre to looking shredded in a couple of weeks. No. If you're super duper consistent, it's going to take you probably like 12 to 18 months. Just being honest. But if you want to look completely differently, that's going to take years. Now, society doesn't how many of you guys got that text? I got it too, that says lose 50 pounds in 20 days.
Oh my God, I got some like that. Do you want to get fit this year? I'm like, have you researched who you're messaging?
Look, manipulating weight and going from fat to fit is completely different. You can manipulate weight by going to the bathroom and dropping you know what I mean.
A big one. You gotta see this.
What?
Oh, he's even covered up.
What?
Wow, he's covered in his blankie.
He woke up. He knows we're talking about him.
So sweet.
So, patience is a good thing, and it's a skill that's required because it's like in direct correlation with discipline. Okay, you can't achieve anything great without being disciplined. You're gonna have to practice patience. Okay. Now, if you want to be successful, you have to live with a sense of urgency because you have to just take more action within a certain period of time. People who are more consistent take more action within a certain period of time. For example, you can have one great day, but if your next 20 days are shitty, then guess what? You're not living with a sense of urgency because out of the 21-day span, you only did well for this short amount of time, which is not enough consistency to move the needle forward. Okay? Now, if you live your life with a sense of urgency, okay, you're able to accomplish a lot more within a given period of time. Okay? And that just makes you more consistent, which yields better results. However, sometimes things go that are outside of your control, which will challenge you to practice more patience. So what I do whenever I am being challenged to practice greater patience is I just stop for a second and I ask myself, how is this happening for me?
Mm-hmm. What's the purpose?
There is a greater purpose. You guys, everything in life happens on purpose. And whatever situation we're in right now, we've created it. Okay, so whatever situation we want to be in 1 year from now, 5 years from now, we need to start acting upon right now. And just because if we don't see the byproduct in this given moment doesn't mean that it's not going for us. What we just need to understand is, why has it not happened yet? And what do I need to do in order to get there? But because so many people just critical thinking is not common. Because people feel as if, you know, because we live in a society of instant gratification, critical thinking is not really a thing. Like if you're looking to achieve something and you didn't get it instantaneously, most people just believe, oh, I guess this is not for me. I'm just big boned. Start settling for less. No, dude. Life don't work that way. You can achieve anything and everything that you want. 10 times more. But you have to be patient. And you have to have a sense of urgency. And you have to persevere through those moments that challenge your patience. Most people don't, but the great people do. So it's like walking on this, that guy that walked over Niagara Falls with the thing.
Niagara Falls?
Yeah, when over the string. With
The tightrope, wasn't it in New York?
Niagara Falls is in New York.
But wasn't it over the
crosses
city?
New York and Canada. Oh, he
was
also
over
did
the city.
it. He also did it between the Twin Towers. You're right.
Yeah, there was a movie. What was that movie called?
I don't know, but he
Walk
did.
the Line. No, that's a Johnny Cash song. I walk the line because you're mine.
Oh yeah, I've heard that song before.
JC. Well,
That does it.
that does it, guys.
That does it.
So today, be on the lookout for an opportunity to be patient. Be on the lookout. It's going to happen at some point. Every single day presents an opportunity for us to be patient somehow, some way. So if you can find it, if you can see it, if you can acknowledge it, you have an opportunity to get better at it.
When you go to make eggs and you crack an egg, and that entire egg just spills because your dog just ran past by you because he's chasing a toy. Instead of bitching about it, ask yourself, what's the purpose of this happening for me? And just get over it. And pursue making your breakfast regardless.
You guys got this. Hey, just as a housekeeping, we are doing a community-wide Zoom call today. There was an email that maybe went out this morning by a oopsie because it was supposed to be PM. Don't be confused by that. It's okay. I just made the email go at the wrong time. So you're going to be getting them again. Yay! Because I know you love how many emails you get from us. So be on the lookout because the Zoom links will be in there as well as we'll put them on the Facebook group page. But if you're curious about ENS Live, and you have any kind of interest in being at the live event, there are very limited spaces. This event is not going to be a huge one yet. We're keeping it limited on purpose. It's our first one, so we want to learn a lot, but we also want to connect with you guys on a very intimate level. So if you have interest in being at that live event, be on that Zoom call. There's very important details that we are sharing. There's been a couple of changes that we've had to make due to the state of COVID and all of that. So please be on that call if you guys have interest. We'll answer all your questions. We'll give you all the details. And if you want to get in on it, we're going to help you with that too. So that's going to be at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's the only announcement I have. Good?
We will either see you today at 4 p.m. Pacific time or tomorrow at 6:30, where we'll be talking about how to turn your relationship into a relationship. Take care, you guys. Have a beautiful day. Practice patience today and happy hump day.
Bye.